So today we're going to be discussing, is the Bible true or it's all a myth? So that's what I'm going to be discussing. I know already everybody's going crazy. Oh, here he comes again with his BS. But it's not BS. Like I said, if you know something, prove me wrong or bring out something and that's going to prove you right. But everybody's here to learn, educate, and put out your wisdom, right? We're not here to bigger about it, but if you want to bigger about it, it's okay. Just do it in an educational manner so that we all could learn instead of fighting with each other. So, as you know, I don't believe in the book. I mean, when I was young, I used to read that book, but I was confused when I was young. So I was looking for answers to get myself out of this confusion dilemma. And, I say vocabulary word because I'm used to it. But the word dilemma means you have a problem with things that people tell you. You're not sure, so you want to find out. So that's what a dilemma means, right? Something that you're not sure. So, with that said, is the Bible a myth? To me, it's just a story that everybody wrote, right? It took a whole bunch of authors to rewrite and revise whatever they wrote, and they took out and they put in. So everybody had their hands on this miracle book that you praise so much, right? So the meaning of myth, I'm going to give you the meaning of myth and a little bit of something, but if you got your own words, because I know you're going to bring out the book and probably find something in myths there, if there is or if not, you're going to have your own theory. But I don't put my own theory, I do the research, right? Because you believe everything that's in black and white, that's how we do it. So, there's all kinds of myths. They got rational, logical. I explain all these meanings, historical, and psychological myths, right? The first myth, not in order, is rational, where they explain to you how things were created or how things were made and why things are the way they are now, right? Were created to explain, right, natural events and forces. That's what rational means. Things were created to explain natural events and forces, right? Like people want to know how the world was formed. So they got to figure out a way how to explain to you, and the only way to explain to you is by a story, right? A story that's considered a myth usually by a Greek. In Latin words, was the Greeks had Latin words in they terms of writing, the vocabulary. So that's how they explain the most translations in the Bible that in English or Latin. You could I'm not just saying it. That's what it is. And the ecological term is based on living, the way people lived during that time, right? Anything, it could be animals, civilization, whatever. Explain the reason why something is the way it is today. So there you go, right? These rational and ecological myths and historical myths, that's another one. Let me read it out to you so you can understand what means by a historical myth are told about a historical event, and they hope memories of that event alive. So that's what a historical myth is: a historical event, a story to keep that historical event alive. So in the Bible, in order to keep these historical events alive, they had to pass it down. But with myth, most of those things cannot never be proven. The only things that is probably real are the people telling the stories and the people that are listening to the stories. Those are the only non-fiction things that are there. And non-fiction means they're not fake. I know, again, vocabulary. That's what I'm always explaining to people, right? What's the difference between the myth and fiction, right? Fiction is fake and non-fiction is real. There you go. Or look it up. So there you go. And then you got the psychological myth, right? That's the most important, like I always say, is all in your head. So if your psychological thinking is off, everything anybody says, you're going to have either belief or have a problem with it. So a psychological myth is an idea or story that delivers by many people, but that is not true. Let me read it again. A psychological myth, an idea or story that is believed by many people, but is not true. I think I said it right? Let me read it again. Psychological myth, an idea or story that is believed by many people, but that is not true. Because psychological plays a whole lot of things in your mind, right? So if anybody tells you something and your mind is all messed up and it's not clear and you don't think rational, anything they say, you're going to believe. So all these things were put on this Bible, I call it the book, to confuse you and control you. That's all it is. So if you don't have the education, right, or mental state to try to decipher this, here we go again with the words. Decipher means to let me see, I gotta get a better term. Decipher, to clear up, right? To clear what you're reading, if you have an understanding of what they're talking about. Give me a second, pick up my phone. So, understanding what this book is talking about, you will never understand. You're just gonna accept whatever's in there. So a lot of people glorify this book, not knowing that if they're getting the right information or not. So, man, what is this, man? Keep on reading from my stuff, right? Because, got information here. I can't keep that all in your mind because everybody reads from the book. So I'm going to put it out. So, right? And the definition in the English language of myth is an idea or story that is believed by many people, but that is not true. And it's not me just saying it. You can look it up. Google it up. Yeah. Right? It's a story that was told in Asian culture to explain a practice, belief, or natural occurrence. Such stories as a group. See, in Greek days, they did a lot of Greek mythology, and they told stories to their people, not only to tell them the stories, but to give them morale when they went out to war and fight, because most of them never came back from their wars. So to show their people that they went out heroically, they invented all these stories, right? Like Samson, Hercules. Those are things that are all myths. Those are people that probably didn't even exist. But in Greek mythology, they taught their people that they had these kind of warrior heroes to give their armies morale so they could go out and fight, right, and protect the nation. So that's how it is. So everything in that book is not what it seems, right? It's a delusion, right? Everything is just not real, unrealistic. So that's what I'm telling you. It's not coming from me. It's coming from research, right? Okay, so let me look another thing right here. Okay, a mythological is a collection of myths or stories about a specific person, right? Or culture, religion. See, it's their religion, or many groups with shared beliefs. Right? These are all people in the Bible that talk about psychological myth, historical myth, rational myth. Everything is all a myth. It's just folk tale, right? Passed down by generation, and since it's passed down, people believe all this stuff. So I'm gonna reach another part. Is by Greek mythology is filled with tales about relationships between gods. See, they didn't say one god; they said gods. So they have many gods. The Greeks have more than one god. And humans, usually with gods pulling pranks on all the times. I read it a little wrong. I'm gonna read it again. Greek mythology is filled with tales about relationships between gods and humans, usually with gods pulling cranks all the time. So there you go. They have all kinds of gods. God of love, the god of beauty, god of war. These people have all kinds of gods playing tracks on humans, and humans trying to surpass or survive their pranks. So, and not only you probably think it's all superstitious, but it's in black and white. That's why you reading that book. It's gonna get you nowhere. It makes you happy, makes you rejoiceful. But when you find out at the end, nothing is never gonna happen. You're gonna be talking and praying to a God, kneeling down, hoping that what you wish for is gonna happen. You know what the meaning of wish for means? That what you're saying, hope that it come true. It's not even. It's gonna come true, because that's just hoping. It's like dreaming. You're dreaming for something to happen, to occur, which is never probably gonna occur, because it's fantasy. I read that part. So I think I read everything. So there you go. Not from me. So to all your people that have any religious belief of any sort, and that was uncreated by man, put it like this: it was created by man, most likely was to convince you what they wrote was non-fiction. Like I said, the word non-fiction means real, and fiction means fake. So you have to learn yourself what is realistic and what is not, what's a myth. And psychologically, um, the Bible plays with your mind because it contradicts itself from one page to another. Like I said before, you have seen the movie Hellraiser. When you play with that box, once you open it up, you can't get out of it. It's like you're trapped. You gotta find your way out, but you never do. That's what happens with that Holy Bible, man. It's hard to get out of it, and um, I got a brother Kim. He needs to be into that. He could explain to you more because he read all kinds of chapters. I read it, but I couldn't handle that. That thing had me confused. But I know a little bit. I don't get back into it because I don't like to open that stuff up. But my brother, Tanko Native, he should know more about this. But to him, this is personal. But when I do the videos, he likes to come in and probably correct something or say something that he knows, because he does know, and things like that. And the brothers, the Israelites, they know history because it's there, but most of all that can never be proven, and it contradicts itself back and forth. And there's also a verse that say, when you too proud that you think you know it all, and it's before proudness come destruction from your own demise, because you just like reading the lies that you believe is true, that you and all your followers are going to go down with you. And that's not me saying it, it's in the scriptures, because that's what you believe. So you're going to fall down with the same things that you're passing, right? It's a psychological thing, right? So it's pertaining to a mind or a mental phenomenon as the subject matter, or psychology, right? Psychology pertaining to dealing with or affecting the mind, especially as a function of awareness, feeling, motivation, and psychological play and psychological effect. See, it plays with your minds and it affects your mind. You think it's true, but since you're not thinking right, you're in a state of delusion that you think, oh, this is real. But it tells you that it's a story. It keeps on always repeating that it's a story based on a myth, historical events to keep the story going. But people seem to forget all that and just keep on and keep on reading the same book, and they glorify that. But I'm trying to get to an article I got here that speaks about glorifying something that it was meant for you to believe, but it's all a lie. But since you like to lie so much and being unrighteousness, that you enjoy these lies and you just keep on spreading it out. I'm trying to get it here. I got it. So here you go. This is called Tassolaneus, right? The King James Version. And for this reason, God will send them strong delusions. It's not me. It's from your own script book. I'll call it a book, right? And for this reason, God will send them strong delusions that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth but had pleasure in unrighteousness. See, they had the pleasure knowing, even if they known that it was a lie, they had the pleasure of just continue saying lies. So that's what happens when you read something and you just enjoy reading it to people just to see them how should I say, unhappy, down. And you get joy out of that. And it's not right. You know, you see me like, you always see me with a grin no matter where I go. And even when I go to courts, I got a grin. They always ask me, why are you grinning? I said, what you want me to do? You want me to be sad? You're going to pass judgment on me whether I grin or not. It's not going to make a difference. I always tell them that. Whatever judgment I say, well, what can I do? I got to just deal with it, right? But it's not the case, because in the court of law, you have to prove yourself. And if you prove yourself right, no matter if I grin or not, the judgment is going to be for me, not against me. As long as you don't know why you went into court, you shouldn't be coming to court unprepared. It's like when you come take an exam, you got to be prepared. So it's the same thing with the Bible. If you don't know nothing about the book, the people that's reading it for you are going to take advantage of your illiteracy, right? Illiteracy means is that, how should I explain to people that don't understand? Like I said, a lot of people don't know. Illiteracy means that you can understand or read something, right? You're not literate. Literate means that you can read and understand. You know? So these camps, they take advantage of people. They never question somebody. Once a person that's a little bit more educated, they're going to question them and make them think. If they nod their head or they smile, it's because you take their mind and they know that this person is not as easy as the other ones, because the other ones stay quiet, puzzled, they get upset, they don't know how to react. But a person with the right mind is going to respond like to me. I always tell them, if you're going to put me there, it's going to get controversial. I said, don't worry, just come and listen. Well, we always end up in a discussion, and you see people nodding their heads and things like that. And me asking questions, I said, man, it don't matter about this, man. This is not going to help you. You know, a lot of people in generations been through that, and they're still stuck in the same position. That's right. For me, you could call it whatever I am, an atheist, a heathen. I'm going to make a video of that. Even as I'm a heathen, I still walk in the same grass you walk in. I eat the same thing, and everything I do, you do. So it doesn't matter. Everybody sins no matter what. This world was meant under sin. And if the Creator wanted to stop it, he would have stopped it a long time ago. He don't need a human that can obey his commandments to read a book that you can't even keep. And instead of giving the people understanding, you confuse them more because you don't know nothing really about that book. The book is not of your heritage. You know, the book was made in the 1200s, right? In the 12th century, and the only people that had that Holy Bible was the Vaticans and the high priests. They're the only one that could read of that book. Nobody else had it, but that's why when you go to this Catholic church, the only one, well now, back in the 1200s, as you read it, the only one that could have that Holy Bible was a high priest of the Vatican reading off that book. And at the 1500s, it took 1,000 years before people could have that book, because there was translations in the book. They altered that book so many times, like I said in one of my videos. And then people started receiving the book. But before then, that book was so rewritten so many times that you don't know what's in that book. That's why the book is a book of historical myth. That's why they say it. Even the Israelites say it. You heard them say it. Oh, it's our history. But they don't know if the history is true or not. Maybe in the places where they say Israel, Egypt, because those places are factual. But everything else, it cannot be proven. You know, it say that when Jesus came, I think this video is too long. So I'm going to cut it right there because, I want people to throw some questions, answer, and put out there whatever they know. So I'm going to leave it at that. Psychological myths in your Holy Bible. But if you know something that's not true that I said, you bring it out and you let us know. And with that, I'll let you go.